In this lesson, we will build our primary belt control. So we'll want to make sure that this belt control is easy to grab for the animator. And what we'll do is work with our parent shape tool. We'll create a control object that surrounds the belt. That way, no matter what angle we view it in, it's still very easy to grab for animation. So let's say we move over to our top view. Then at that point, we'll grab our CV curve tool, still set to linear. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just draw out a C shape just by snapping to grid. Okay, and at this point, we can go ahead and center its pivot, kind of move it over to the character. And now we can move back to our perspective view, move this up and into place. We can start to scale this curve down and in the x-axis. Now I'll start to scale it out in the z-axis, kind of move it back. We're just making sure it's kind of centered along this side of the hip. And then at this point, we can go ahead and select the inner points and go ahead and scale those out in the z-axis. Okay, I think that's going to make a nice control. So let's say we go ahead and mirror this to the opposite half. To do so, we'll first duplicate our curve, group it with Control G, and at that point we can go ahead and scale the clone by putting in a value of -1 in our x-axis. We can now remove the curve from our group by choosing Ungroup, and there we have it, our mirrored curve. Alright, so let's go ahead and unify this shape. Selecting curve 2, we can now shift select curve 1 and use our parent shape tool. Now at this point, let's go ahead and correct the pivot of this object. So I'll now hide the character, holding down the D key, and V. We'll vert snap over to our spine bone. Again, we want to snap to the spine joint that will directly control our belt. So in this case, of course, clearly that is spine B. All right, now at this point, we can go ahead and rename this. That's going to be CC Belt 01. We can freeze it, clean up the channels we will not animate. That's going to be scale and visibility. Let's also recolor it. I'll go ahead and reselect the shape. Let's go ahead and do so from our transform tab. That way both shapes are recolored. So that's drawing overrides, and we'll use a color of yellow. Great. Okay, well, of course we'll want this to follow spine B, but at the same time we want to make sure that this control object is consistent with the rest of our controls, meaning Z forward, Y up, X away. So to do this, all we'll need to do is group this object and parent the group to spine B. The group then will inherit the transforms of the object we parented to, and at the same time, our belt control will have an ideal orientation. All right, so with the belt control selected, we'll go ahead and create a group from our command line. That's going to be the command group, followed by -N to rename it. And we'll call the group GRP CC Belt 01. All right, you can see how the pivot of the group is slightly offset from spine B, no problem at all. We'll just go ahead and snap that back into place. Let's also take a look at our outliner. All right, so to finish up here, let's go ahead and parent the group to spine B. And we'll also want to take our IK handles for our hinge rigs and go ahead and parent those to our animation control. Okay, so if we were to take a look at this, we can take our hip control and start to move that around, and notice the belt will follow exactly the way we want it to. Great, exciting stuff. Okay, so that just about does it for our primary belt control. So let's say we build our secondary controls in the next lesson.